Welcome to the official YouTube channel for the Colin Cowherd podcast. Go on, hit that subscribe button if you're new so you don't miss any of our great football content this season. Okay, I want to talk a couple more games here before we get into James Franklin, who got fired at Penn State. Oh, Carolina beats Dallas 30-27. Two things to say about Dallas. First of all, Dak Prescott in his last 3 games has 10 touchdowns and no picks. They can only win one way. It's a track meet. They got their defense. Bryce Young ate it up. Secondly, George Pickens, for all the criticism the Cowboys get, I mean, he's got 6 touchdowns in 5 games. He has been a steal as a third rounder. He has been unbelievable. Today, he was incredible. So we can roll our eyes at the Cowboys, but Pickens has been great. Dak has been sensational. But I was watching Bryce Young today, John, and it really came to me, is that Carolina dominated first downs, like almost doubled the Cowboys. And Rico Dowdle had 183 yards, over 6 yards a carry. Is that, and I said this when they traded Micah, it was going to look bad this year. But 2 first-round picks, Dak playing this well, go get an edge rusher and go get a number 2 receiver, and you're going to be fine. In this league, you can get better really, really fast. Plus, they're going to have free agent money and cap room next year. But I watched Bryce Young, and my takeaway, and I know nobody cares about Carolina, but my takeaway is Bryce Young can look pretty darn good against a bad defense. When I've seen him against good pass rushes, he's totally engulfed. But about half the league doesn't have a pass rush. Most of the league isn't Denver, right? They're not Denver. They're not the Rams. So I watched Bryce Young, and I'm like, do you think Bryce Young gets an extension? Because my take is, he's middle of the pack. He may be the 17th best quarterback, but against average defenses, and that coach, he's capable.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably put him in the Tua category, where he probably will, and everyone will fall out of their chair when he gets $150 million. Now, it has to keep going well, but like you said, the Saints are in their division. You watch them, their defense is horrendous. Tampa just has to blitz all the time. I mean, they have a bunch of injuries and older players. And, Atlanta, in theory, has good defense. I mean, we'll see how it translates over. But they're not exactly playing the 85 Bears on a weekly basis. Now, again, I would probably rather have Tua than Bryce. But, I mean, today, the thing with the Cowboys, Dowdle had 183 yards. His long run was 15, Colin. I would bet in the history of 180-yard rushing attacks, on average, the long run in a game for a running back would be like 40-plus yards. Because if you ran for 130 yards, you're probably gonna have a couple 20-yard runs.
He had 30 carries. That's what they did in the 70s.
he also had a huge game. I think he had 4 catches for 56 yards. I mean, I think he has like 500 yards from scrimmage these last couple. He's dominating. The Cowboys' defense is horrendous. It shows you how bad the Jets are, because they made the Jets, their defense actually looked pretty good against them last week. This game, my favorite bet on the board, besides Seattle, who won outright, was the over in this game. Started a little slow, but as the game went on, I mean, these two defenses are horrendous. They really are. Dallas probably going to have to feel good. If you go, Dallas wants to win a game, I think they have to be above 30. I don't think they have any chance to win a game against a competent team, not the Jets, if they're in even in the high 20s. I think they got, I mean, obviously they lost today 30-27, but I would say on average, their scoring defense when the season ends, I bet it's 28, 29. It's gonna be one of the worst in the league, if not the worst.
Yeah, Dallas's defense is a quarterback stimulus package.
Big time.
Everybody looks good. No, it's funny because I was watching this today, and Rico Dowdle had 30 carries. I mean, that's what Jim Brown was doing. Like now you wouldn't even think 20 is like, 20 is almost inappropriate. But I think it does go to show that I think people are terrified of driving to the stadium and being bad at quarterback. Like when today, Cleveland. That's why Cincinnati's like, let's just get Joe Flacco. We won't be terrible at quarterback. We'll be okay. And they were okay. He just threw to Jamar Chase over and over and over on the big drives, which is smart. Joe Flacco's smart. But I think the league is terrified of being horrible at quarterback, and that's why Brock Purdy or a Bryce Young is one gets paid. I think Bryce will get paid. And I will say this, as Carolina won, Dak, through all of this, he's just putting up unbelievable numbers. He first of all, the surgery, he hasn't moved this well in 6 years. He's moving well. It really goes to show you, we don't think it's an elite head coach. They don't have a number one receiver or tight end. The O-line is being remade. John, in this league, if you have an A quarterback, A minus or B plus plus, you can win every Sunday. And that's with Dak Prescott. I mean, they're if CeeDee Lamb makes a catch against Philadelphia, they win that game. Remember the opener?
Yeah.
So it's like I look at Dallas and I'm like, they're not a good team, but they're fun to watch. And Dak is, I mean, there's 15 quarterbacks in this league that can spin it, and he is one of them.
I'll push back a little on the head coach. Now, we're not really judging him on timeouts, and his defense isn't good, so even the aggregate of the team. But he is the play caller, and they have been elite on offense. And they lost CeeDee Lamb early in the season, and they have not skipped a beat. So I would say most people would have been like, Brian Schottenheimer is going to call your plays? Let's just say that. Let's say they had hired Colin Cowherd to be the head coach, but Schottenheimer was his play caller as the OC. We're like, you could do better than that. Like, he's been pretty awesome at that. So I will give him that. And part of it's going to be, because I'm thinking today, they do get 2 first-round picks, and losing this game isn't the end of the world for them if they're picking.
That's right.
You'd rather pick 10th than 20th. And, the Packers probably going to end, that pick's going to be in the 20s, but you're going to have 2 picks, pick a couple guys on defense. Dak, I just looked, 32 years old. So the way football's going now, you can't touch the quarterback. Why couldn't he have several more seasons playing at this level? He clearly has good chemistry with Brian. Maybe they re-sign with some of that extra money. George Pickens, they already got CeeDee Lamb under contract. Finally, maybe draft a running back in like the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round. And all of a sudden, you have more of a complete team. You get some of these defensive backs healthy over the next couple of years. They got a bunch of them under contract. They just need front 7 players. I would draft more. If you told me they used both their first-round picks this year on defensive linemen, I'd be like, smart. Right? I wouldn't even veer away from the front 7 if I were them early in the draft.
Yeah, I looked at mock drafts today, and there's a bunch of edge rushers.
Yeah.
It's a defensive line, defensive edge. It's a very good draft. Dante Moore probably has a chance to go number 1, the Oregon quarterback, although he lost this weekend, but they don't care about that. But I looked at it. It's a lot of defensive players in this year's draft. It's a very good defensive draft, and you know what? I've always been a little reticent to draft a receiver in the first round high because it's an ego position. Why feed into that? Yeah, there's a couple of first-round cornerbacks. There's a bunch of edge and defensive linemen. That's what I said about Micah. It's going to look bad for a year. It will. It's like when Shaq-Kobe trade. Shaq goes to Miami. You were going to get beaten up for 2 years. But in the end, Kobe was the better, more committed player. He was in better shape, fewer injuries. Kobe got Gasol, and the Lakers won 2 titles. Sometimes you can't worry about winning the press conference, right? Like they always say that in college football. Don't win the press conference. Get the right coach. You'll win the press conference if you hire, the coach leaves, James Franklin's fired, and then they'll hire, the interim coach because he wins some games and everybody loves it and they're happy. Well, is that the best coach? You're winning a press conference because everybody's happy. So I look at next year, 2 first round. And by the way, John, as you know, they don't need a quarterback, but 6 teams do. They could turn those 2 first-round picks into 2nd and 3rd round picks added by moving down, which they probably will do.
They've also drafted a ton of offensive linemen over the last several years, so they've invested heavily in that position. You could also say, like, unless Micah was Lawrence Taylor, what difference is Micah making on this team? Like, it's not like he's turning them into some high-end defense. Their defense is atrocious. Guys are wide open constantly. They can't cover a soul. I think if you wanted to argue about it, you should have done it before the draft, and you could have gotten more. But at the end of the day, you got multiple first-round picks. You got the money. It was a little clunky the way the process played out, but the end result, I think, is probably going to work out in the Cowboys. As long, the Raiders once did this when they traded Khalil Mack. Again, that was a financial thing. They just didn't have the money to pay him. They drafted the wrong players, and that bit them in the ass. So you get these picks. If you nail, I don't know, like you said, let's say you turn 2 picks into 4 picks, right? Moving back and manipulating the draft. If you hit on 3 out of the 4 of them, it's a home run because not only are you getting impact players, they're cheap impact players.